It's finally here. The Zard Exhaust has arrived. This is a premium exhaust that's coming straight from Italy. It's a 3-in-1 full exhaust all the way from the header back to the tip. It's gonna reduce 10 pounds of weight. It's gonna add an additional 5 to 6 horsepower, and it's gonna be aesthetically pleasing, aesthetically looking awesome. So it took about 2 months for it to finally get here. So I'm beyond ecstatic to actually get this thing installed. So let's do an unboxing, an install, and of course a review on the sound. Let's go. All right, let's go ahead and check it out. Everything comes nicely bubble wrapped. And Zard says they do have an instructional video on their website as well. And in this booklet, it states that you have a 24-month warranty. So the first part of the install is just going to be removing these 2 bolts on both sides of the radiator. That's going to give us easy access to the headers. These 2 bolts are T15 torque screws and should come right off without any issues. For the next step, we're going to remove this bolt underneath the radiator and loosen the 2 bolts on the top of the radiator. That just will allow us to swing the bottom portion out. And now that we have a little bit easier access, we're going to go ahead and remove the bolts on the headers. We're going to use a 1/2-inch socket. There's a total of 6 bolts. That's 2 bolts on each header. And next we're going to remove this O2 sensor on the left side of the bike. It's going to use an 11/16 wrench. Just be careful not to ruin the sensor as you remove it. At a later step, we're going to be relocating this O2 sensor, but for right now we're going to remove these rubber clamps that go along the radiator hose. And in the meantime, I actually disconnected the O2 sensor from the harness just to put it somewhere safe for right now. Next, let's get underneath the chain and remove the bolt that's connecting the muffler to the frame. We're going to remove the bolt on the left side, and then we're going to do the same thing and remove the bolt on the right side, and this detaches the muffler from the frame. From here, the factory exhaust should fall right down. Just grab it and pull it out. And now we're to the fun part where we get to install the new header. These are spacers provided by Zard, and then we're using the nuts that we removed earlier. But basically these spacers are going to go on each header pipe, and it just provides a place where you can attach a spring that holds to the header. So this is the first step, is installing these spacers. So you can see on the piping that there are numbers, and it correlates with each piece of piping. There's a 1, 2, and 3. You're basically going to attach the number 1 pipe to number 1, number 2 pipe to number 2, and number 3 pipe to number 3. And you can see the places where the springs are going to attach all line up nicely. I just pushed the headers right in, got them in nice and snug, and then you can see the hole from that spacer we installed earlier is going to attach to this little bracket there. And Zard provides you with this handy little tool stretcher that you're able to stretch the springs. There's going to be one spring on each header, and then two down connecting down here, and one on the other side, and then one connecting the muffler tip to this piece right here of the piping. So a total of 7 springs that you're going to use that little tool with. And moving right along, we're now at the step where we're going to reroute the O2 sensor to the right side of the bike. So just bring the cord over. Pro tip is to unwind the cord counterclockwise before you screw it in. That way once you screw it in, the cords won't have any tension on them and they'll line up just perfectly. And then Zard provides a zip tie, and we're going to zip tie the cord up off of the exhaust so nothing gets too hot. At this point, you can start tightening all the bolts and replacing the radiator bolt that you removed earlier, as well as replacing and reattaching the radiator cover that we took off earlier. And next we're going to take this bracket and attach it here with the washer and the bolt that they provided. This is basically a hanger that we're going to attach the exhaust tip to. Next we're going to slide the exhaust tip on, making sure to line up the holes with the hanger and the bracket on the tip, and then we're going to secure that with the nut and the bolt that they provided. And lastly, we're going to attach the last spring on the undercarriage here. Okay, first cold start. Definitely is loud, and you smell that new exhaust smell. But ooh, it's purring, it's purring. Well guys, I hope that came out on video on really how great this thing is sounding. The triple on the Trident just already has an amazing whistle, especially on the downshift, and the Zard exhaust just really brings out that note, and oh, it's so satisfying. The exhaust just really opens up the natural sound of the Trident, and it sounds so good. I'm extremely satisfied with the Zard exhaust, and as you can see, the install wasn't too hard. But anyways, if you did find this video useful, do me a favor and go ahead, hit the thumbs up button for the algorithm. That will help me out a lot. I appreciate you guys. I'll remind you to get outside, stay hydrated, and keep on moving.